Without further ado, Michelle Buttigieg, the North American representative for the Malta Tourism Authority. Visit malta.com. Michelle, with one of the most fantastic last names I've ever encountered on the planet. Such a pleasure to speak with you as always. I can't believe this is now our fourth podcast, and I can't believe the last one was January 30th. It's already been a full year that has gone by.
I know. Well, it's my pleasure, John. Thank you again for having me with you to chat all about Malta. I can't believe it's been a year, nearly.
It's been a year, and it is perfect time. I mean, it's always a perfect time to talk about Malta, the now quote unquote discovered gem of the Mediterranean, and and Malta is such a, to rehash some of the points that we have, of course, discussed in other podcasts, but for those that are hearing about Malta for the first time, perhaps, or just need a refresher, Malta with over 300 days of sunshine a year, which is absolutely incredible. And also, as you will hear in the way that Michelle speaks and describes everything and anything about Malta, one of the friendliest places on the planet with so much rich history. It's unlike something that most people ever encounter in their lives, that type of history. And thus, without further ado, Michelle Buttigieg, also, and we will get to a question on Gozo, but as we discussed in our last podcast, your official title in Malta is the Queen of Gozo.
Only because I am from Gozo. I am no queen, but but I am originally from the island of Gozo.
On our last podcast, you confirmed that you were the Queen of Gozo. So, Michelle, and you just returned from Malta. That's exciting. And I still have not been. I can't wait to get there. We were actually, in our last podcast in January, we were saying that I was going to make my way out there. But obviously, time flies. Maybe we'll make that happen in 2025.
That would be great, Judd.
I would love it. I would love it. So Malta, Michelle, Malta has been experiencing a really exceptional increase in tourism from North America. And I mean, I know it's always been a strong spot, but now that you're seeing the significant increase, what do you personally think some of the reasons are for this, outside of marketing and whatnot? But what do you think is causing this exceptional increase, exponential increase? Sorry.
Yeah, I think, Judd, and I think we've touched on this even in our past podcasts. Post COVID, everyone was looking for an undiscovered, off the beaten path destination, and being that Europe has been seeing such an overwhelming amount of tourism, especially from North America, I think people are looking to go somewhere beyond the usual.
Right.
And the usual, we know what the usuals are. It could either be combining it with another country or on its own. It has finally reached that point where Malta is that desirable place where people want to go on its own. It's great connectivity that post-COVID kept getting better and better. So, if you have more connectivity, you've got more ways to cross that bridge kind of thing. And I think it's just the mystery that, again, together with creating through our marketing, through partnering up with entities like yourself and others, kind of, putting out the story out there. It intrigues people to go and to want to go. And of course, then once people go, they come back and say, you know what? This has been amazing. You must go to Malta. So also the word of mouth that now we are at that stage where people do come back and talk about Malta. So
Right.
All these combinations put together, it's been great success for us.
Fantastic. And you're right. It just begins proliferating itself, especially once people experience it and word simply begins to spread. Now, with respect, and then also, you touched upon an important word, Malta now with ever increasing connectivity, especially, from throughout the world, but especially from North America, the United States, Canada, etc. And then also on the ground in Malta, so to speak, is the connectivity in that it's, everyone speaks English.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just to go back a little bit on the connectivity, we don't have a direct flight yet, but there are serious talks, and hopefully we're close to have a direct flight from North America. But we've added many more airlines, such as Aer Lingus lately, and it's just been announced that LOT will have a connectivity with the North American market as well, so people can fly through Warsaw, which is a new airport that connects to Malta, and the many others that already exist. Connectivity, when you mean communication, that's easy for us because English is one of the official languages. So Malta has officially two languages, Maltese, and for those that don't know, and I know we spoke about this before, but it's a semi-Semitic language, one of the only few left in the world, derived from Aramaic, Arabic, and with lots of Latin infused into it. And then, of course, we speak English. So when you're there, everything's in English, all the signs, everybody speaks English. So it's pretty easy to communicate.
Exactly. There's no language barrier.
No.
And that is, for many people, that can be a negative when they are traveling to another country, whether it be Mexico or wherever it might be.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. So over the past year, and now we can actually say, since it's been basically a full year, where have you seen the most development in the quote unquote luxury space, so to speak?
So you've just mentioned that I just came back from Malta,
Right.
and every time I go to Malta, I try to go and look at new properties because I think that's a really important aspect in luxury. Where do you stay when you're there? And the 5-star hotels are amazing. I've just been to Malta with a venture from Virtuoso, so it was very much designed for luxury experiences, and wherever we stayed and whatever we've done reflected that. And a lot of things jumped out at me because it doesn't matter how many times I go, Judd, there's always something new for me to see. Something either that just opened or that has been there for so long and I haven't seen it. What really, really talks to me are these palazzos that are all over Malta. I had the pleasure to visit Villa Bologna, which is a house that belonged to nobility in Malta, where actually, fun fact, where the movie Napoleon was filmed. Um, and met with the family that has been there for centuries and talked about their home and what it's been through different eras of Malta, different histories, and you could just see it in this house. They have like a little restaurant. They even have like their own pottery place. The gardens are gorgeous. So there's a lot of these little palazzos that are open to public, whether to visit or to stay. Um, the Shara Palace Hotel, which is in Relais Chateau in Indina, has this palazzino like next to the hotel, 2 bedrooms. But I
Wow.
walked in there and I wanted to stay there. It is so beautiful and so well preserved. And again, you're staying in history.
Right.
This is a palazzo back, dating back to the 1500s. It wasn't built yesterday. It's well preserved with all the modern amenities of today. But you're not just staying in a hotel. It's not just a bed. You're actually staying in history, and like that, there's many around the world, around the islands. Apart from the palazzos, of course, we have new hotels coming up. The Me by Melia just opened.
Right.
A little bit over 100 rooms, gorgeous, located in St. Julian's in the busy area of Malta, right next to the Intercontinental. That is also a Virtuoso property. But you have the Westin with those beautiful American beds that I love. The Hilton, which even though, we say Hilton here, it has a different meaning in Europe, I feel.
Hmm.
The Hilton in Malta really represents um, the backdrop, the beautiful marina there, and again, the Marriott. I can go on and on. So the hotel product, of course, the Corinthia Palace. I went for lunch this time around. Gorgeous. Talking about like the Queen, the Grand Dames, located next to the presidential garden. Um, Great, beautiful location. Of course, then you have the Phoenicia Hotel, which is a leading hotels of the world. which is the Grand Dame of Valletta, had the most amazing dinner at Ion at the only two Michelin star restaurant at Iniala Hotel, overlooking the Grand Harbor. I mean, the food is fantastic, but the view is equally fantastic. So
I can
yeah,
imagine. You could probably just live there as well, right?
I can live any. Yeah. I get excited everywhere I go. Yeah,
Yeah, you just reserve a permanent table and you.
I'll be there.
Exactly.
With. By the way, the last time I was there, is summer of last year. Not this summer, the summer before.
Mhm.
I was sitting next to Ridley Scott, who was filming Gladiator 2. They were dining there. They
I
were
was
staying
just
there too.
about to bring that up because you just mentioned the filming of the movie Napoleon. And yes, Ridley Scott, Gladiator 2, very exciting. I can't wait to see it.
Me
And
too.
yeah, and he quote unquote said, "I love Malta."
He did. Him and many other actors, which is a great, again, I can tell you how amazing Malta is because it is, and I could say that. But then when more of these personalities start coming back and saying, and that attributes back to your first question, why did Malta, why is it experiencing so much success? It's because it's not just me saying that it's great. It's a lot of other people, and including, Ridley Scott and Mel Gibson, who loves Malta. He's just been there and have announced that they will be working on a Netflix series about the Knights of Malta.
And so, touching upon, as you mentioned with respect to the palazzo that you touched upon, which sounds incredible, and the history of Malta. And I mentioned that at the beginning of this podcast. The history of Malta is, in my opinion, some like something that most people never encounter in their lives. The Knights of Malta, as you just mentioned. I mean, there are opportunities to, you mentioned in January, to dine in locales, if you will, that literally use the menus that they created thousands and thousands of years ago.
Right, right. Like you. I mean, again, these are experiences. Whether you are just eating in a restaurant that is a palazzo built in the 1500s, to experiencing a taste history experience at the Maritime Museum or other heritage Malta sites. To just eating with locals, because the cuisine reflects on our history as well, and you definitely get that experience through the five senses, basically what you're seeing, what you're tasting, what you're hearing. It's just everything together.
And there's also, it's a significant focus in Malta with respect to farm to table, and the high end as well as the wonderful local restaurants. And then also, let's not forget to touch upon, as we have before, but I think always important to bring up, is the incredible wine culture and wine. I mean, the roaming vineyards that you have, and just the wine. You've mentioned the wine is just absolutely sensational, correct?
Correct. I mean, the gastronomy has really taken off, with now Michelin star restaurants. Eon is the only but 2 stars, but we have others. The experiences of, because even in the Michelin star restaurants, you get that farm to table. As we were dining last Thursday, the chef was telling us, okay, now you are tasting, these figs that we've brought from the fields in Sigiui, and they use the local farmers, they use the local cheese, the vegetables, the game. That you can find in Malta, so it is definitely gives you a thorough experience of actually eating like the locals. We also had
Hmm.
a great experience, on a farm. Wednesday, we spent all day at Tanishia, which is a sustainability area. With Charlie, the farmer, we ate everything that's grown in the area. They have like kind of like a group that they all work together. So if I'm having honey, it's one of the honey farmers that works with the whole group, the cheese, the vegetables, and it was just an amazing experience. And again, Judd, these were, you know, luxury advisors that would dine in a Michelin star, but also, sit around the table with the farmer and his wife making a typical Maltese ftira bread and eating it, and it's as delicious as the Michelin star experience. So it's all about the backdrop that you're in, right? Whether you're sitting in a Michelin star ambiance, or whether you're at the farm. It's if you know what you're eating, whether you're in the vineyard pairing it up with the local wine, it's that curated experience which I think the traveler now is looking beyond just going to a place. They want to
Absolutely.
take that experience with them.
Absolutely. And when you really, and you're right, curated is the perfect word, bespoke, curated. And then to, when you really think about that, of course, going to a Michelin rated restaurant, wherever it might be, is a
Mm,
fantastic experience. But then when it's, and even if, let's say it's not a Michelin rated, but let's say it for the sake of conversation, it is, yet each and everything that you're eating or drinking is from this
mm.
absolutely magical place such as Malta. That really just changes the entire experience completely.
Absolutely. Absolutely agreed. And I could tell from everyone that was with me that wherever we ate, we had a picnic in Gozo, for example. Um, Amazing, like fresh product, local product. We're sitting with a beautiful view of the Imjar Harbor, sitting on the floor with beautiful cushions. In great company, but the food was incredible. And you're sitting there with that, again, backdrop behind you or in front of you, is just the experience, I think. And that's why we're saying the curated experiences that are so unique to Malta.
Uh, I'm just trying to conceptualize wisping my way away to that experience. It's and the way you describe it, and again because you're from there and you love it with a passion. It's
For sure.
eminent in everything you say about Malta. And on that note, another exciting component of Malta is the literally nonstop, ongoing, really significant and amazing festivals that you have throughout the year.
Mm. Yes, correct. We have an all year round calendar. The weather's great. People like to be outside. So, what Visit Malta and together with the cultural entities of Malta did is create a very robust calendar of events. Starting from January all the way to December, there's always something to do while you are there. Summer, obviously, people are more outside. You have the local festas with the local food and bands, and every day is like San Gennaro. So there's festivals all over all over the islands. But then you have the special festivals. One of my favorite,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not because I'm really into Baroque music, to be honest, but while I'm there and when I experienced the Valletta Baroque Festival, Judd, it's like, again, it's because of the backdrop that it's in.
Right.
It takes place in January 2025. I think it's from the 9th to the 25th. And the actual program immerses the audience in captivating celebration of this kind of music, the early music, which goes really well with Valletta and its rich tapestry, of Baroque. So basically, what you do is you go from one place to the other. So whether you're in the St. John Co-Cathedral one day, and it's usually like a whole week, so or even more actually, there's a program, and you can, if you go for this, you'll have tickets for all of these different um, festivals, and whether you're sitting at the Co-Cathedral or the Opera House in Valletta, to actually going to historic venues like the intimate Lapsi Church or the enchanting Verdala Palace. Again, each location provides like a stunning backdrop, and it enhances the listening experience. Because it connects the audiences with Malta's rich cultural heritage. So
Absolutely.
That's one festival again out of the many. I had the chance to experience it, and I was just really moved because it's a cultural experience. And then
It's
of course there's the Isle of MTV, the jazz festival, the Rolex Middle Sea race, the vintage car Grand Prix, the vintage car Grand Prix at Mdina. So you have these vintage cars. It's incredible. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of festivals all year round.
and it also from what we've slightly discussed in the past, and then also from what I see from your very well run social media accounts, especially your Instagram and TikTok, is you do have certain events or festivals, if you will, that provide opportunities for many different genres, right? I mean, isn't there one you do with, or you have done with MTV?
Yes, we are officially the Isle of MTV. So every July, there's a huge concert free of charge that attracts thousands and thousands of people. Of course, locals look forward to it, but also we get a lot of influx of visitors coming just for that. And you have the big numbers, the big names. Sorry,
Right,
that draws the big numbers. So it's always an experience too. That's in July.
right. And to touch upon it again, every single thing that Michelle Buttigieg is mentioning and that we're discussing, you can find at the ultimate Malta portal, if you will, which is visitmalta.com. Anything and everything.
Correct.
Correct. That's exactly right. And so this is a term I am not familiar with, but your wonderful, amazing team at Bradford Global Marketing under Karen's stewardship mentioned slow tourism has been trending. What makes Malta's sister island of Gozo, also known as Calypso's Island, run by the Queen of Gozo, you yourself, Michelle Buttigieg, a perfect example of this?
Well, yes, actually, Judd, like yourself, it took me a while to understand what slow tourism is, and it's a growing trend. Which it's about, it's about taking one's time to immerse themselves in the local culture. That's slow tourism, and Gozo is now attracting travelers looking for that authentic, as we said, like the local farm to table experiences, the historic, the cultural experiences. Um, it is a facet of sustainable tourism. It's a trend of part of sustainable tourism, trying to reduce the negative effect of mass tourism on the environment. So by doing everything slower, it impacts the locals a little bit differently. Um, Sustainability is a new way of life for Gozo. To be honest,
Hmm.
the locals know that the island is unique. And that its culture and environment need to be protected. Because if we're seeing all these big numbers, we've seen this over the summer about all these negative effects that mass tourism have on certain destinations, and how the locals are voicing their anger, or with having a lot of tourists in one spot. So the island of Gozo is a great way of showing how slow tourism can be done well. The island has taken a lot of initiatives. They implemented like solar panel water heating.
Hmm.
That is part of the sustainable promoting of it. But also, it embraces the relaxed kind of more slow-paced visit. But again, the island of Gozo, the locals have done a lot to protect it. It has, though small, it has, I believe, three beaches that are blue flag designation, which it really makes a difference for the even for the locals. It is, Blue Flag designation is an award that's widely recognized for sustainable beach management, and it requires meeting specific criteria. So the locals are making an effort to go to that level. Yeah, and even visitors while there can participate in reducing their carbon footprint by using these alternative modes, of way to go around, whether it's transportation. You could walking, cycling. So there's like a tours around that, Segway tours, kayaking. To avoid driving, around in cars, congestion, and all of that was fun stuff that we have to deal with living in bigger
Right.
cities like I do.
Right.
So
Yes.
yeah, it's a great innovative approach,
And
and I think the island of Gozo is doing it well.
you just, that's fantastic. It just sounds, I was thinking as you were so perfectly describing and discussing each of those elements, what it must have been like growing up in such a special spot
Yeah,
such as that. I mean, you can't, I can't imagine it. I've lived in many amazing places, but to grow up in a place like that,
yeah,
yeah.
it was pretty special because obviously back then, without aging myself, um, it was definitely a slower pace, and we didn't even have to do anything. It was just a natural way of living,
Hmm.
and that was pretty special because it made us who we are today.
Yeah, now that's very special. It's something that most
Yeah.
people don't
No.
experience, nor could they ever imagine. And I don't have too much of your time left because you're very busy promoting the Malta Tourism Authority to as many as possible to share all of these wonderful reasons to visit Malta for the first time, and then as many times as possible. But really quickly, you touched upon kayaking, and so let's for a moment discuss. I mean, the opportunities to explore in the water, whether it's kayaking or diving or yachting or name it. I mean, Malta with its absolutely. I still see images of your harbor and those older boats that just blow me away. They don't even look real to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's funny because when I was there, we took these, like, they're like gondolas, but the Maltese gondolas version,
mhm,
and you cross from the Valletta side to the Three City side. Few minutes really,
mhm.
but as I asked the guy that was manning the boat, I said, "Could you like take us around a little bit?" And he did, and you know, it it's so pretty because of course it's pretty to the eye, but again, you're also historically in one of the oldest ports, right, in Europe. So you're seeing the natural caves, but then you're seeing the fortification, and the water's blue, even in the harbor. So it's whether you're doing that or diving or going to the Blue Lagoon and snorkeling and swimming. We are blessed by beautiful Mediterranean water around, one of the cleanest in Europe. So you definitely, visiting Malta, you have to take some time to experience that as well.
I think blessed is a very appropriate word to summarize what Malta is and what you are as a person, whether by yourself or with your family, your loved one, whatever it might be, to experience what Malta is as you're blessed. And I can't wait to one day become blessed and visit Malta. So
Yes.
on that, I'm gonna put it at the top of my list for 2025. Michelle Buttigieg, my dear friend and the North American representative for the Malta Tourism Authority. Visit Malta.com. Michelle, is there anything that we didn't discuss that we should have or that I didn't ask you that I should have?
I think you've touched on everything, Judd. We discussed on what to see, what to do, where to stay, how to get there, all the exciting events going around. As you mentioned, please do go to visitmalta.com. There's a lot of information, inspiration stories, itineraries, contacts. So it's a really good website to start with if you're planning a visit to Malta. And we cannot have another discussion, Judd, with you saying that you have never been. So you better buckle up, and you're
Oh,
coming to Malta soon.
one of my favorite. That is literally one of my favorite terms that I use all the
Buckle
time.
up.
Buckle up, kid. Seriously, it's actually one of my favorite terms. I forget where I first discovered it, but I absolutely love it. I love that one, and then kick the tires and light the fires.
That's right.
I will buckle up. And on that note, I must ask, and though it's both personal, but also it's good for luxury travelers to know. And this one I'm actually drawing a blank on if I've asked before. Is Malta dog friendly for travelers?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's also that. Malta literally is perfection.
And you have to come and see it. So,
All right. Well, I will, and hopefully everyone that has the opportunity to read about Malta, to learn about Malta, to see Malta on social media at Visit Malta, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, etc. And then also, again, visitmalta.com is your go-to resource to begin discovering how you can become blessed and visiting one of the friendliest, most beautiful, historically rich, absolutely sensational places truly on the planet. Michelle Buttigieg, the North American representative for the Malta Tourism Authority, visitmalta.com. Michelle, thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure. It saddens me that our 30 minutes has already passed, and perhaps I will see you in Malta before we have our next podcast, and maybe, as we discussed last time, we will do our next podcast in
in
Malta.
Malta. Fantastic. That sounds like a plan. Always a pleasure, Judd. And until the next time.
All right, my friend. Take care. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
And have a
You
great
too.
Thanksgiving.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.